In this journey of professional development and personal growth, I've started 5 years ago at the age of 35. I remember struggling with my own life, not knowing if there were any secrets to achieving success or, whatever success was for me at the time. I started this journey 5 years ago, and up to this point, I've probably read over 231 books in different areas. So the areas I'm interested in, which also constitute the science of success philosophy, is behavioral science, studying people and understanding people, leadership, relationships, and money or financial literacy. So those are the four topics we're going to talk about. And the main thing concerning these four topics is about what is in your mind. So if we start with that is, the science of success philosophy, the major key or the master key that you need in terms of finding your own success is whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. I think that's the most powerful thing, that if you understood it, it can change the rest of your life. So I call this seminar the mindset maneuvers. So mindset maneuvers is changing your mind. It's a paradigm shift, going from where you are to where you want to go. Sometimes if you want to go somewhere but you don't know where it is, you might go to the wrong direction. But if you set up your mind and say, this is where I want to go, and you write it down, and you know your destination, your mind has made up that. And so in studying the science of success, I first have to, define what success is. If I asked you what success is, any of you will have different, definitions. But the most important definition that I could find was the one that I had Al Nightingale said in his the Strangest Secret speech. And he said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Whatever that ideal is, whatever that goal is, you define that success for yourself. And so how do you define success for yourself? How many things do you need to measure, and in what areas and how often? That's the question I always ask myself. And for me, for example, there are 5 things that I have to measure. I call them the 5 fundamentals. So number 1 is my faith, my belief in God, and also my belief in myself. And the second one is family. That's the second important thing in my life. My physical fitness or my health, my financial fitness, and my relationships with those that I love and those that love me and the rest of humanity. So if you have to measure those 5 things, it's not something that you measure at the end of the day. The end of the year. It's something that you measure every year, every 6 months, every month, or every week, or every day. So in your daily agenda, you have to look at all those things and say, okay, have I performed what I needed to do in terms of fulfilling my faith or my religious obligations? And then I will say, am I doing what I am supposed to do for my family? Am I there all the time for my family? And then your health or your physical fitness. If you are not healthy, you cannot perform anything in life. Even your money is useless. So you have to work on your health. You have to exercise. You have to eat right. You have to take your vitamins and all that stuff. And so you have to measure that too. Your health and fitness, and then your financial fitness. Financial fitness doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of money in the bank. it means you have to have the right mindset. There are people who have a lot of money but still have a poor man's mindset. So if you have a scarcity mindset, for example, you believe that whatever you have is not enough, you'll always have a scarcity mindset no matter how much money you have. And then your relationships. Charles Schwab, who started Schwab Financials, Charles Schwab Financials said, I will have paid any amount of money to learn the ability to get along with people. So relationships are very important if you want to succeed in life. And so, but in those relationships themselves, they have priorities. The relationships I have with my wife and, children and my mother and father and my, siblings is different than the relationships I have with my coworkers or other people outside. But you still have to learn the skills that you need to get along with people. Friendships are very important because if you have, let's say, 5 friends or 9 friends, and you're the 10th one, and they're all broken, dysfunctional, you'll also be broken, dysfunctional. If you have 9 friends and they're all poor and illiterate, you'll also be poor and illiterate. So those relationships are very important. So if you want to move forward from where you are and you want to change your life, you have to decide whether you want to stay with your old friends or whether you want to move away from them. Because if you want to succeed in life, in 5 years, you'll be in the same place, except for the friends you keep, the books you read, and the people that you surround yourself with, and your goals. So if you have bad friends, you're going to stay with them, then you become part of them. If you have poor friends and you want to stay with them, you'll be part of them. If you don't have goals, like you don't know where you're going, you'll also stay in the same place. You have to make up your mind and see what are my goals, and then write them. Our thoughts, in terms of pursuing success or becoming a better person, or moving forward in your professional and personal life, our thoughts are very important. So how do you control your thoughts? What we think about, we become. Our thoughts are that important. Whatever we think about, we become. Nothing is good or bad except thinking makes it. That's what Shakespeare said. Nothing is good or bad except thinking makes it. The way we think defines the way who we become and what we accomplish. We become what we think about most of the time. That's what Al Nightingale said. And also in the book, As a Man Thinketh, James Allen's book, the whole concept is that you become what you think about most of the time. And so if you think you're dumb or you can never learn anything, you'll always be dumb and you will stay there. But if you think that you're a person of substance and you can achieve great things in life, you become that too. A man is what he thinks about all day long. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that, the American essayist, that a man is what he thinks about all day long. Imagine you're thinking the whole day about negative things and you can't control your thoughts. You'll be depressed because you're thinking about bad things, negative things all day long. Our attitude. So we must control our thoughts, like the way we think. Also, our attitude is very important. Our attitude towards everything matters. If we have a negative attitude towards everything, then we live in a miserable life or a negative environment. So because, let's say, for example, you believe that, all people are good, and you believe that you're a good person. Eventually, you will realize that. Like, you will attract people who are like you, who are good people. But if you believe you're a bad person and you attract bad people, then that's what you will see around you. So if you believe, as a woman, like let's say a woman wants to get married and find the right husband. So if you believe all men are dogs, you will marry or get a dog for a man. And if you believe all women are evil, you will marry or have an evil one. That statement is actually very true, because I see these all the time. Like, I see young women and young men that say, oh, they're not good men anymore, they're not good women anymore, because that's what's in their head. And that's who they see. They don't see good men. So how does a good man come around if you attract who you are? If you believe that, then that's who you attract. If you believe all the good ones are taken, then you'll only find the bad ones in the marketplace. If you don't like something, change it. And if you can change it, change your attitude towards it. That's what Maya Angelou said. So, for example, you don't like something, like let's say the way you behave around people. You don't like it. Change it. So, because if you change your attitude towards it, like if you say, oh, I'm around good people every day, you eventually start attracting good people around, as your friends and around you. So if you don't like something, change it. If you can change it, then change your attitude towards it. I think there's a hadith like that too. Our attitude towards others determines their attitude towards us. So if I believe that all the people I meet are good people, eventually most of the people I meet will be good people. If you believe people are genuinely good, you'll find and meet good people, and vice versa. The greatest discovery of my generation is that they can change their lives by changing their attitude of mind. William James was a scholar, a psychologist, and also was a Harvard professor. And the greatest discovery, even for me, was to change my mind. For example, I'm going to give you an example. I struggled with my bar exam. I graduated law school in 2011, and I wanted to pass the bar exam. I took the bar exam so many times, and every time I failed it. And it wasn't that I was dumb or I didn't know what I was doing. It was just that something wasn't right in me, whatever it was. So I started researching, and I think it was in 2016, and I was like, why am I failing, or what does it even mean to succeed? What does it mean to fail, and what does it mean to succeed in life? So I had to do my own research and figure out. So once I figured that out, the hardest thing was for me to change my mind. The easiest thing was to pass the bar. Changing your mind, everything that you want is changing your mind and changing your attitude. The way I did that was I focused on passing the bar. So I didn't focus on failing. Before I was focused on failing. I was scared of failing. Now I focused on succeeding. So I was like, once I was studying for the exam, I was like, I'm going to pass this exam. And I was happy. I was saying it, and then all of a sudden I was a different person. I started listening to positive things, and then I started encouraging myself. But I also, started studying harder, but also studying smarter. I adopted the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle as it's called, is you do the 20 things or 20% of the things that will give you the 80% of your results. So you focus on the most important things. You prioritize. And so what will give you 80% of your, of your results that you want, the end result that you need? So, adversity it's your friend, is your best friend. I think you should never be afraid to go through adversity. So don't be afraid of adversity, because there's no accomplishment without adversity. Adversity introduces a man or a woman to themselves. That's what Albert Einstein said. Obstacles are part of life. So if you fail at something, or, like Mustafa said, he took a risk and it didn't turn out the way you wanted at some of the risk. But the others on the other side, you took a risk in something else, and you were successful. So you win some and you lose some, but that doesn't mean if you fail at something that you should not try. So adversity is part of life. You're going to fail at something sooner or later. You have to accept that. But if you try something and you fail, and or something bad happened to you, and that's the only thing that's in your mind, then that's going to incapacitate you. You'll be stuck there for a long time. So you have to learn to move on from every adversity that you go through, and say, oh, this is part of life. So you can either go through it, go around it, go under it, or go, on top of it. No matter what adversity that's on your way, you have to learn how to avoid those obstacles. Not avoid so much, but learn how to accept them and go through them, and don't see it as a bad thing. So failure is not final, it's just a feedback. It informs, it educates your abilities and skills, and tells you to build more stamina to withstand the storm, no matter how big or small. It was Henry Ford who said success is just on the far side of failure. So it's, if you fail and fail and fail, you eventually find that success is just on the other side, if you just keep going. I mean, I read somewhere that Thomas Edison, the guy who invented the light, a reporter asked him, you failed 10,000 times in trying to invent this thing. Why do you keep trying? And he said, his answer was, I didn't fail 10,000 times. He said, I tried this 10,000 times, and it just shows that the 10,000 times that I tried, it doesn't work that way. So I have to try one more. So imagine somebody failing 10,000 times at something and still going on. I mean, that's persistence, And so giving up is never an option if you want to succeed in life. So no matter how many things you try, and no matter how many times you come short or you fail, or something is put on your way, it means that try one more time. And every journey has its ups and downs, but the destination is still ahead. So every journey you go through, you'll find speed bumps, you'll go through adversity, you'll go through a lot of difficulty, but that doesn't mean that you should stop doing whatever you're doing if that's what you want in life. It just means you haven't reached your destination yet. Don't be disappointed by adversity and whatever that you go through. It's just that you should learn from it. And then if you fail and fail and fail and haven't learned the lesson, you will keep failing. But if you learn the lessons, I think that's the best gift that you can get from your failures. The circumstances. So a lot of us go through circumstances, and we think those circumstances are permanent. And so we never try to do something important because of those circumstances, Circumstances are just that, nothing more, nothing less. No matter what happens to you, nothing should ever discourage you from pursuing and following your dreams and ambitions. So whatever circumstances you go through, it shall never discourage you from pursuing your dreams and ambitions. Because, a lot of people will say, oh, this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me. That doesn't matter, because what happens to everyone. What matters is what you do about it. If you lose your job, and the next day you're disappointed and, cussing everything on your way, that doesn't change your circumstances. You just have to figure out how to find another job or a better job. You should not stop living your life just because something unexpected happened. Like losing a child or a parent, or he cheated or she cheated and you got divorced. So there are people who've been divorced for more than 5 years, 6 years, and they still think about that person. And they say, oh, he cheated me, she cheated on me, and we're divorced. It's 5 years ago. He's already moved on, or she's already moved on. Why are you still thinking about it? Why don't you just move on and find out a better life? If it's meant to be, it will have stayed, but it was never meant to be. So stop living in the past and stop living in your circumstances and move on. Have to grieve, have sometimes have time to grieve and be sad, but don't take too long, because life is too short. Because if you lose somebody, it's difficult when you lose somebody. I lost my father when I was 12 years old. I think that was the most difficult time in my entire life. And I can't imagine anybody losing some loved one. And so if that happens to you, you don't have time to grieve and have time to be sad, but move on, enjoy life, because there's nothing you can do about that. You cannot control what happened. It already happened. So just, I have something called the 5-minute frustration time. So if I am frustrated with something, I go sit down and be frustrated for 5 minutes. So I'll be sad for 5 minutes, I'll be frustrated for 5 minutes, but after those 5 minutes, I say, you know what, 5 minutes is out. So I go out and smile and start doing whatever I want to do. So create time for yourself, like say, whatever it is, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then emotions. Learn to control your emotions. Everything we do has emotions attached to it. Everything has the meaning we give it. If you're driving to work early in the morning and somebody cuts you off, and you get mad and start chasing that person, you've already messed up your whole day. And I see that every day. Like some people, somebody comes and cuts them off, and then it just messes up their day. I cut somebody without seeing them, and then I saw this guy, with his truck running after me, and so he was mad. So he came next to my car, and then I waved. I was like, hi. So he's not mad anymore. He just moved on, because there's nothing he could do to somebody who's smiling at you and waving at you. So, control your emotions. Everything we do, whether it's sad, whether it's mad, angry, it's an emotional it's an emotional thing. Don't give people any power they don't have over you. So, for example, you see somebody blaming someone else all the time. It's like, oh, he did this to me. You've given that person power over you. Like, no matter what anybody does, nothing can get to me. I control my emotions. I control my well-being. Because if you worry about what everybody says about you or what everybody tells you, you're going to live an unhappy life. You have to live life on your own terms. You have to choose to be happy, because happiness is a state of mind. A lot of people will say, oh, no, you can actually choose to be happy. Every time you're sad, smile. Say, ha, 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 and see how you feel. You can't be sad and still smile. Or you can't smile and still be sad. Like, if you've ever tried, you will laugh at yourself. Like, every time I am sad, I try to smile. And then I smile at my own, craziness. But it works. Because every time somebody does something to you, or somebody says something to you, if you get mad and you pay attention to that, you're giving them a lot of power they don't have over you. Nobody can make you angry and disappointed without your permission. Because who can make you disappointed? Because you have that expectation that everybody's supposed to be nice to you. You don't have the expectation. You try to be nice to everybody, but you don't have the expectation of everybody being nice to you, because you have no control over that. So if you worry about that and somebody says something bad to you and you say, oh, I didn't expect that from him, and your whole day is messed up. Your emotions are very important. So Learn to control your emotions. Everything is within your control. You are the master of your own domain. You control your destiny. And then responsibility. On the journey to becoming successful in life, we are all responsible for our own life. And you have to take responsibility for your own life. Stop complaining. Stop blaming others for all that happens in your life. Because when you take control over your life and you take responsibility for your own life, then you will not stop. You will not start blaming people. You will not start complaining about everything that's around you or everything that happens. Stop whining, because no one cares for whiners. People are looking for winners to be friends with. Like for example, if you have two friends, and you have one that every time you're around him, he's either complaining about something or he's whining about something, you will try to avoid that person. If you're somebody who wants to be successful in life, you'll be like, this guy complains all the time, But if you have another friend and he's always open, and you discuss ideas, and you discuss how to move forward and how to succeed in life, you always want to be around that person. So when he comes to your life, you'll be like, man, where have you been all this time? I've been looking for you. So those are the kind of relationships you want to create. So don't live in a misery. Master your own life. Misery is like the person who is always blaming whatever that happens to him on other people. Like he never takes responsibility, or she never takes responsibility for her own life. Whatever happens is somebody else's fault. The day you decide and say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. So if it's meant to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. So you take life and you start working it. And so you do whatever you can to get what you want in life. You are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. The faith to believe in yourself and see the invisible. You have to see what you want in your head before you even start trying to get it. Don't complain when you fail, and don't explain when you succeed. Just live in the moments and learn the lessons. Faith. Without faith, nothing happens. Faith takes us there, wherever we want to go. Faith in the unknown powers of the Almighty, and faith in your own unlimited powers and dreams. You have to believe that there is a superior being that controls everything. In Somalia, waxaan dhahnaa qadar. We blame everything on qadar. So you can't blame everything on qadar. Ilaahay wuxuu ku siiyey caqli iyo karti iyo maskax wax lagu samaysan kara. So you have to trust in Allah and tie your camel, as they say, the hadith says. So you have to believe in God, but also believe in your own powers, because God says, I created you and made you different than the rest of the animals because I gave you a brain. So we have to start using our brain. The faith to believe in yourself and see the invisible. Faith is what gets us to our destination. I believe that there is something better ahead, and that you shall overcome whatever that comes your way. So